There is a moment on every spiritual path when the light begins to reveal what has long been hidden in the dark. It's not the bliss of meditation nor the ecstasy of awakening, but the trembling realization that parts of us have been guiding our journey from the shadows. You sit in silence, seeking peace, and suddenly a memory flashes, or a wave of rage arises, or a voice within whispers, "You're still not enough." And in that moment you realize, you're not just walking toward the light, you are being asked to turn and face the dark. The spiritual path is not a straight line up into heaven. It is a spiral that descends into the unconscious just as much as it rises into the divine. What you do in the dark determines the clarity of your light. The first hidden shadow is the fear of your own power. It lives deep inside many spiritual seekers, disguised as humility, disguised as spiritual bypassing, disguised as surrender. But underneath, it is fear that if you truly stepped into your full soul power, you would be too much, too bright, too different. So you dim, you shrink, you stay small, safe, unseen. But this shadow doesn't go away. It shows up in self-sabotage, in the voice that whispers, "Who do you think you are?" You meditate, you read, you pray, but still, that fear lingers. The truth is, your soul was never meant to fit into the mold of comfort. It came here to disrupt, to awaken, to radiate. And the shadow of power will keep you shackled until you say yes to the magnitude of who you truly are. The second shadow is the addiction to suffering. This one is harder to recognize because it often masquerades as depth. We confuse suffering with meaning. We believe that unless something is hard, it's not real. Unless we've suffered, we haven't earned our awakening. This shadow is ancient. It's inherited. It's cultural. Many of us grew up watching people equate love with pain, sacrifice with virtue, struggle with value. So we carry this unconscious script. If I'm not suffering, I must not be growing. But what if your growth is not meant to be so violent? What if joy is a spiritual teacher too? What if ease is not laziness but alignment? This shadow keeps us looping in unnecessary pain, unconsciously inviting chaos into our lives just to feel real. Can you feel how subtle that is? Ask yourself, do I allow peace, or do I only trust the storm? Then comes the third shadow, the spiritual ego. This is one of the most seductive. It grows quietly, often after we've had some real spiritual experiences, visions, awakenings, deep insights. Suddenly we feel special, we feel chosen, we believe we've arrived, and slowly, without realizing, we begin to compare. We begin to judge those who are less conscious, those who don't get it. We build a new identity, not based on material success, but on spiritual superiority. This shadow is tricky because it uses the language of awakening to reinforce separation. But awakening is not about being better than others. It's about realizing there are no others. The true mystic sees God in the beggar and the billionaire, in the atheist and the devotee. If your spiritual path is making you more isolated, more rigid, more prideful, it is not spirit guiding you. It is shadow wearing the mask of light. The fourth shadow is the fear of abandonment by the tribe. This one is primal, aussi. It lives in the nervous system. When you begin to awaken, you change. Your values shift, your language evolves, your energy becomes different. And suddenly the people around you feel distant. You start to feel like a stranger in your own family, your own community. And this triggers the shadow. If I become too different, I'll be abandoned. So you hold back, you hide your gifts, you pretend to believe what you no longer believe. You keep one foot in the old world, even as the new world calls you. But here's the spiritual truth. Any path to authenticity will require you to risk rejection. You cannot serve both the soul and the crowd. Eventually, something must be chosen. Are you willing to be misunderstood, even unloved, in order to be true? The fifth shadow is the illusion of arrival. This is the voice that says, once I heal this, I'll be done. Or, once I awaken, I'll never suffer again. We long for a final destination, a moment where everything is resolved and we can just float in peace forever. But that's not how the soul works. The soul is not linear. It is cyclical, seasonal, spiral. You will revisit old wounds from new perspectives. You will fall asleep and wake up again. You will feel lost even after years of clarity. This shadow tricks us into perfectionism. It makes us feel like we're failing if we're not always in alignment. But real spiritual maturity is not about being in alignment all the time. It's about returning to alignment with more grace each time you fall. What if the journey is the initiation? What if you never arrive because you are the path itself?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
And then there is the sixth shadow, the need to be good. This one is deep. It comes from childhood, from religion, from culture. It's the belief that in order to be spiritual, you must always be kind, always be calm, always be loving. But this shadow suppresses your sacred rage. It silences your authentic no. It labels your anger as unspiritual, your grief as weakness, your boundaries as selfish. And so you become a shell of yourself, polite, passive, pacified. But true spirituality is not about being good. It's about being real. The divine is not interested in your performance. It wants your rawness, your truth, your full spectrum. Can you be fierce and still be holy? Can you be angry and still be awake? Can you be messy and still be divine? These six shadows live in all of us. They are not evil. They are not mistakes. They are guardians of transformation. Each one carries a lesson. Each one invites you to go deeper. The spiritual path is not about avoiding these shadows, it's about integrating them, loving them, listening to them. Because the moment you bring awareness to a shadow, it begins to lose its grip. Light does not fight darkness. It simply reveals it. Let me ask you now, with full presence, which of these shadows speaks to you the loudest? Is it the fear of your own power hiding behind spiritual humility? Is it the addiction to suffering that makes you mistrust peace? Is it the spiritual ego that wants to be admired more than it wants to be free? Is it the fear of losing your tribe, keeping you silent and small? Is it the illusion that one day you'll finally arrive and everything will be perfect? Or is it the need to be good that keeps your wildness locked away? Be honest. This is not about judgment. This is about awareness. When we begin to name our shadows, we begin to reclaim our power. Because every shadow holds a gift. The fear of power hides your destiny. The addiction to suffering hides your capacity for joy. The spiritual ego hides your humility. The fear of abandonment hides your authenticity. The illusion of arrival hides your presence. And the need to be good hides your truth. Each one is a mirror. Each one is a guide. Will you walk through the mirror? The path of integration is not a fast one. It is not glamorous. It is not always comfortable, but it is real. It is sacred. It is where true transformation happens. You stop trying to be spiritual and you start being whole. You stop chasing light and you start embracing life, all of it. The sacred and the profane, the beauty and the brokenness, the divine and the deeply human. That is the real awakening. This is the journey the mystics spoke of. Not the escape from the world, but the descent into it. Not the flight into heaven, but the embodiment of heaven on earth. You are not here to transcend your shadows. You are here to transmute them, to dance with them, to learn from them, and ultimately, to love them. Because only when you love your shadows can you become whole. And so we stand at the threshold now. 6 shadows, 6 gates, 6 initiations. You have a choice. Will you keep running from them? Or will you turn toward them, bow to them, and ask, what sacred wisdom do you carry for me? The choice you make in that moment will determine the depth of your spiritual path. This is not about becoming better. It's about becoming more real, more honest, more alive. The shadows are not in the way of your path. They are the path. When we begin to see the shadows not as enemies but as sacred teachers, something profound shifts in our consciousness. The fear begins to feel less like a wall and more like a doorway. The discomfort becomes less of a punishment and more of a signal. We realize the most powerful spiritual work often happens not on mountaintops, but in the hidden corners of the heart. The parts we've labeled wrong or broken or unworthy are the very places where the divine is trying to speak. But you must be willing to listen without judgment and see without illusion. Let us return to the first shadow, the fear of your own power. Hidden in this fear is your deepest calling. Your light threatens the false safety of hiding, and it terrifies the ego because true power cannot be controlled. It is not about dominance or superiority. It is about alignment. When you are fully aligned with your soul, your presence alone becomes healing, unsettling, catalytic. And yet this shadow will tell you to stay smaller than your spirit. It will whisper that you are arrogant, delusional, or dangerous. But what is more dangerous? Stepping fully into your radiance or dying with your song still inside you? To transmute this shadow, you must begin to trust your inner authority more than the approval of others. You must speak your truth even when your voice shakes. You must create, lead, express, and serve from your soul, not your conditioning. Ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I fully own who I am? Sit with that. Don't rush to solve it. Let the question burn through the illusion. The more you honor your power, the less you will need to prove it. Now return to the second shadow, the addiction to suffering. This one is deeply embedded in spiritual culture. We wear our wounds like badges of honor. We believe if we are not constantly healing, we are not growing. But true healing is not a permanent state of pain. It is a return to wholeness. It is the ability to hold both joy and sorrow without identifying with either. So many of us have become so comfortable in the identity of the wounded one that we forget we were born whole. To move beyond this shadow, you must allow joy to be as sacred as grief. You must give yourself permission to feel good without guilt. You must release the belief that you only earn love through suffering. What if joy is not the enemy of depth, but the fruit of it? Let your healing be a doorway to aliveness, not a prison of endless processing. Remember that the soul came here not just to survive, but to thrive. The third shadow, the spiritual ego, is one of the most subtle and persistent. It grows in the dark corners of achievement, knowledge, and recognition. It tells you that you are different, superior, more advanced. But this is not awakening. This is separation. The true master is not the one who knows the most, but the one who loves the most. Love is the real measure of awakening, not visions, not followers, not words. To dissolve this shadow, you must return to humility again and again. You must be willing to be a beginner every day. You must listen more than you speak. Let go of being right. Let go of being seen. Let go of needing to be special. The ego wants to be enlightened. The soul wants to be free. One is obsessed with image. The other is devoted to truth. Which one are you following? And then we come again to the fourth shadow, the fear of abandonment by the tribe. This fear is so visceral, so ancient, it often bypasses the mind and lives in the body. It's the fear that if you fully become yourself, you will be exiled. And maybe in some ways you will be. Maybe some people will fall away. Maybe some relationships will end. But you must ask yourself, is it really love if it requires you to betray yourself? True belonging only happens when you belong to yourself first. When you stop performing for approval and start expressing from authenticity, some doors will close, yes, but others will open. Doors to deeper love, doors to true resonance, doors to soul-aligned connection. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are here to be true. Let the tribe that matches your truth find you. But first, you must be willing to stand alone. The fifth shadow, the illusion of arrival, can be so seductive. We want to cross a finish line. We want to say, finally, I made it. I'm healed. I'm awakened. I'm done. But the soul doesn't work that way. The soul is a river, not a mountain. It flows. It evolves. It deepens. Every time you think you've arrived, life will show you another layer, not to shame you, not to punish you, but to invite you to even greater wholeness. To move through this shadow, you must embrace the infinite nature of the path. You must fall in love with the process. Let go of the fantasy of perfection. Let go of the addiction to milestones. Learn to find God in the ordinary, the messy, the unresolved. Your humanity is not an obstacle, it is the doorway to divinity. What if the mess is not the opposite of the sacred, but the very place where spirit lives? And finally, the sixth shadow, the need to be good. This one is deeply ingrained, especially in those of us who were taught that love must be earned through obedience. We learn to hide our truth in order to be accepted. We learn to abandon our needs to be seen as spiritual. But the divine does not want your performance. It wants your sincerity. It wants your full spectrum, your light and your dark, your peace and your fire, your grace and your grit. To release this shadow, you must reclaim your wildness. You must give yourself permission to be complex, contradictory, and real. Spirituality is not about being nice. It's about being true. Sometimes truth is fierce. Sometimes it disrupts. Sometimes it burns, but it always liberates. Ask yourself, what parts of me do I still hide in order to be loved? And then slowly begin to love those parts yourself. That's where wholeness begins. These six shadows are not random. They are archetypal. They are universal. They are woven into the collective unconscious of humanity. And yet, your relationship with each one is unique. You must learn to dance with your own shadows, to speak their language, to hear what they are trying to teach you. Because behind every shadow is a gift that only you can unlock. The spiritual path is not about escaping these shadows. It is about integrating them. And integration is not a one-time event, it is a lifelong practice. You will meet these shadows again and again, in different forms, at different stages. But each time you meet them with awareness, you reclaim a piece of your soul. You become more whole, more free, more true. This is the real work, not the glamorous, performative spirituality of social media, not the curated perfection of enlightenment influencers, but the gritty, honest, soul-deep work of facing your own darkness with courage and compassion. The kind of work that humbles you, that cracks you open, that transforms you from the inside out. And here's the paradox. The more you embrace your shadows, the more light you carry. Not because you've become pure, but because you've become real. You've stopped pretending. You've started living. And in that raw, unfiltered presence, other people feel safe to do the same. That is the true ripple effect of awakening. That is the legacy of a soul who has done the deep work. So the next time a wave of fear, shame, or resistance arises on your path, don't rush to push it away. Pause, breathe, ask it what it wants you to see. Sit with it like an old friend. Listen without judgment. Let it speak. Let it strip away another layer of illusion. Because every shadow you face is a gate to deeper truth. Every darkness you embrace is a doorway to divine light. This path is not easy, but it is holy, and it is yours. You were not sent here to be flawless. You were sent here to be whole, to remember, to return, to embody the vastness of your being. Light and shadow, heaven and earth, spirit and soul. That is the integration. That is the path. That is the sacred invitation. And so I leave you with this. What if the very things you've been trying to fix, hide, or silence are the exact places where God is waiting to meet you? Step into the shadow and let it show you the way home.